All right, welcome back. So in this part, we're going to create the trapdoor, and basically, right now we have this is what we have in our design so far. There's a front piece with an entrance, and then behind this entrance, attached to this little motor, there's going to be a door that shuts closed, and that's going to happen when you put your hand too close to the entrance, right? Okay, so let's do this. So we're going to start by making a new part. And then we're just going to save this quickly as trapdoor. Door. Just name it trapdoor rev1. Okay, so then we're going to make a sketch, and we're going to sketch on, let's do the front plane. So I'm going to sort of guess here, and we're going to basically change it in the assembly to make sure it makes sense. So I'm going to start by creating a corner rectangle. This is just something I do sometimes. And then make a line that goes from the midpoint of the top of the rectangle to the bottom. And then I'm just going to make this like construction geometry. And then I'll make a line on the origin as well. Doesn't have to be a certain length. And then you click your first line, you click this line, and then you click. So you click the first one, you're holding control down, which allows you to select multiple things. Select the second one, and then press collinear. And now they sort of snap together. Okay, so I don't know. I'm just going to guess here. Let's say this is 200 by 80, right? And that, I don't know. Distance from the bottom, let's just say this is 80. That doesn't really matter. Okay. And then we'll extrude this to our thickness of our cardboard, which is about 2.8 millimeters. And we have to add a little hole at the bottom. So let's say draw another line from the origin down to the bottom. We'll make it construction geometry. And then the reason why we do that is just so that we know the hole that we're going to make is centered. So now we can draw a hole anywhere on here. I don't know. The hole size doesn't really matter. This is just for like our little simulation. Let's just make it 15. And then let's make the distance from the bottom to the center of the hole. We'll make that 15. Actually, let's make this a little smaller just so it looks nicer. Let's just make it 8. I don't know. And then we'll go to features, extrude, and we'll cut through this, right? And we'll save that. So now we have our basic trapdoor. So if we go back to our assembly, now let's bring our trapdoor in to see how it looks. So we'll press insert component, and then we'll press trapdoor. Click in the 3D window. Boom, now it's brought in. Now let's mate this so it would behave how it would in real life, right? So let's click mate, and you have a couple of different options. We've used coincidence so far. Now we're going to use concentric. So concentric basically means like if you have a circle, like a big circle, let's say you have a big circle and a little circle, and they both have like a center axis. Concentric just means like align the two axes so they're like on top of each other, basically. They can still be different sizes, but basically they'll like rotate around the same axis. So if that's confusing, just follow what I'm doing and it'll make sense in a second. So press concentric. And then for concentric, you want to select like cylindrical faces to align them. So let's go to our hole and select this like cylindrical face for the first one. And then for the second one, select the cylindrical face of the motor shaft. Boom. So now those are sort of aligned. We press check there. And if we go to this, we see it can rotate, but it's like moving like into and out of the page. So we need one more actually. So we're gonna need uh let's do another coincident mate. And then okay, so this is a little tough to see. So uh let's slide this guy back, and then I'm gonna show you how to do a section view. So section view is nice, and it makes it like easier to see things in tight corners, which is like currently what we're dealing with. So let's press section view, and we're in the front view right now. And then okay, we're gonna want to flip this around, and then we're gonna bring it so that the front door of the cardboard goes away. So now we can see more what we're doing, and then you press OK. So now, if I press mate and I select the back surface of our trap door, and then press coincident, and then select the front surface of our motor, it snaps to place. So those two are like on top of each other. Boom. So now if we simulate, we can get out of our section view now. Now if we simulate the door closing, it can go up and down, up and down. And the way that I'm doing that is you just click it and then you drag with your mouse. So it's correctly mated, but as you can see, the sizing is off, right? Because it's running into the corners and crashing into the ground at the bottom here. So we need to fix that, right? A lot of this is like sort of trial and error, and you're just gonna sort of like change things live until it works the way that you want it to work. So let's see. There's a couple of things we can do, right? We can change. So the trap door just looks way too long. So let's click the trap door, and then we'll press edit component. And then we have to edit the sketch here, right? Oh, whoops, sorry. So click in your feature tree, click trapdoor, and then select the first feature sketch, because we want to edit the length of the trapdoor, right? So the trapdoor originally is 200. So the trapdoor originally was 200. Let's shorten it. Let's make it like 150, right? Boom. Something like that. And maybe the trapdoor can have like, we can use fillets or rounds on the corners. So if you press fillet up here, and then you touch the two corners, we can increase this a bit. We'll do 40 for now. All right, so that already looks a lot better, right? It's like almost not touching the top. So, but we're still crashing into the bottom. So yeah, and we have to get sort of like a drastic shape here to fix what's going on. So let's try something new. Let's go back to our trapdoor file. And this is sort of the nature of what you're gonna have to do. So let's drag this line up until we're right below the first feature. So it's as if those other features don't exist right now. And we'll just press edit sketch. We'll go back to the sketch because we have to make some changes. So we know that if this is like where the bottom edge is like where the motor is going, we need to make some changes here. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna click 3-point arc, and then we'll click the bottom. Make sure you're on 3-point arc. There's a couple of different options here. 3-point arc. We'll click the midpoint of the bottom of our rectangle. So we have one of the points defined, and then we'll click like somewhere along this edge here, and then click somewhere in between the two of them. So now you have like this arc, right? One thing that we're going to want to do is make this arc tangent to this line. So you select the arc, hold control, select the line, and then you press tangent. Boom. So now we've got this like interesting shape going on. So let's see. Let's turn this one into construction geometry on the bottom, and then we'll trim this line. So the way that I did that is trim entities, or I press T for a shortcut. And now I want this same curve on the other side, but I don't want to have to recreate it because maybe they'll be off and I don't want to repeat work, right? So I'll press mirror entities, select entities to mirror. So that's our arc. And then what we're mirroring about. So you have to choose like the center. So I choose the center line. Boom. Press OK. Now we trim the other side as well. Just press T and then make sure on trim to closest. Press trim. And then let's define this. Let's say this is, I don't know, 30. I don't like the way that this looks. I'm going to right click this, press delete. I'll just move the dimension up here and make this guy 80. Okay. So the shape is changing a lot, and this should help us with the revolving door part. So then we go down, we add our hole, right? So now you have a yellow error here. So I'll show you what a yellow error means so you can problem solve it if you're creating your own model. A yellow error usually means like you had something as like reference geometry or that you were like talking to before, and now that thing has gone away or changed and the program doesn't know what happened to the geometry. So it's telling me that it doesn't know where this point is basically because there was a midpoint. Oh, it's because we deleted that line, right? So if you just click the yellow constraint here, and then you just press delete, it goes away. But now this doesn't know where it wants to be, so we have to create another constraint here. So if I click this bottom point, and then I hold Control and I click the bottom point of our existing geometry, I could press coincident, and now they're on top of each other. Basically, it was, you know, that middle line, that bottom line that we just deleted in the previous sketch. That's what this sketch was referencing, and then we deleted that line, so it was confused. But now we just updated it, and now it knows what's going on. So everything's good there. Everything is black and solid. Press update, and then bring the fillet back down on the left-hand side. So now we have this like interesting shape going on, right? So we'll save that, Control S. We'll jump back to our assembly, and let's see how this looks. So this is pretty good here. We're getting kind of close. We're still bumping into the top, right? Also, this is a little too close to this wall here. So let's make our few changes in our original master file for the cave entrance. So we'll on the left-hand side, in the feature tree, we'll click our master file, and then we'll click edit component, and we'll open up our original feature tree, and it's blue, so you know that's the work part. And we'll go to our, so this first feature is when we made the rectangle for the front face, and then the second one was when we cut out the whole entrance. So we'll expand the whole entrance, and then right click and press edit sketch. And we're just going to modify this. This is a little too close, so I want to bring this one a little more out. Let's say this is 35. Boom, press enter, exit sketch. All right, so now that's updated. And let's slide the table over a little bit too, because it's a little bit too close. So the table was our latest feature. We'll expand this and then press edit sketch. All right, so this is 20. I don't know, let's try 50 here. All right, press exit sketch. Everything updates. I'll get out of edit component. Collapse that. Okay, so that's already looking a lot better, right? So let's see. So let's test our trapdoor. So it comes down. That looks pretty good. That's covering most of the entrance, right? We don't get any collisions at the bottom anymore because of how we changed the geometry. And then when it comes up, okay, we're still peeking out the top a little bit. So let's see what we can do there. You can either do it live in the assembly file. Sometimes I just flick back and forth between my files. Let's go back to our trapdoor file. So the thing that's controlling that top portion is this fillet around, right? So if we keep increasing that, so that's 50. Let's try 60. Well, let's see what 50 looks like first. Boom. And then we'll come back. Yes, everything updates. It's really close. Okay. I'm just going to do it in the assembly file here. So I'll press my trapdoor, edit component, expand this, and then the fillet. It's got to be a little more. We'll go to 60. How does that look? Update. Okay, that looks good. All right, cool. So let's test it again. The trapdoor comes down. Covers the door a bit. And then it comes back up. And it doesn't interfere with the top. Yeah, I don't really like how this looks. I think we got rid of too much on the end here. So let's go back to our trapdoor file. Open up the original sketch. Instead of increasing the fillet on the end, I'll just decrease the total length of the trapdoor a bit. Let's try 145. And then press exit sketch. And then instead of I'll go back to the original 40 we had for this fillet. Yeah. That looks a lot better, I think. See how this looks. Boom. Okay. So it comes down, blocks a good portion of the door, right? And then it comes back up, and it doesn't collide with the top. That looks really good. Okay, so to review, this was a little bit back and forth, but this is a lot of what you're going to do in your own projects, right? You're going to design something, you're going to realize it's not exactly how you want it. You're going to bring it into assembly file, see how those parts interact with each other. You can either go back to your original design file to change it or change it live in your assembly file by left clicking in your feature tree on whichever part you want to edit, going to edit component, it turns blue, and then you could edit and change it however you want. And you're going to have to keep tweaking things until you get it exactly how you want. And this is sort of the nature of the game with CAD. And, this is good. This is saving you a lot of time. Think about if these were 3D printed parts. You could go back and forth 10 times before you ever print anything. Imagine you had to design it, print it out, and test it, realize it doesn't work, and then come back and keep making changes. This will save you a ton of time. You can make sure it works exactly how you want before you print it out. And this is good practice for how it's going to be when you actually design your own projects. So just in case I'm going to give you all these files just in case you got a little lost somewhere along the way and you want to reference how mine look. But also, I know we changed a bunch, so let me just review here quick. The trapdoor was, let's see, it was a rectangle the final trapdoor is a rectangle that was 145 millimeters in length by 80 millimeters, and it's centered about the origin in this middle line. And then we added arcs, right? So we used 3-point arc. One point was on the bottom of this center line. Another point was on the side of our rectangle. And then we clicked somewhere in the middle. And then we made this arc tangent to the side. And then we mirrored that to the other side. And the bottom of this rectangle is 80. It's okay if you have some stuff that's blue. It's not fully defined, whatever. And then we cut a hole in the bottom. The hole size doesn't really matter. It's just for our model, so we know like where to rotate it. It was an 8mm hole that was 15 millimeters from the bottom of this to the center of our hole. And then we added a round on the top that was 40 millimeters on each of the corners. And then if we go back, boom, everything updates. We'll save that. Do one last test. Swings down. We like how that looks. We're not crashing into the bottom. It's blocking the sides. And then we come back up, and it's not peeking over or protruding out of the top. And it kind of hides nicely on the side for when we have when the door is in the up position. All right, so that was the trap door. Now we're going to move on to the next part, and I'll see you in the next video.